So film. Have you ever looked at one of these and wondered how the fuck does one actually get pictures off of this thing? This is the video for you. I am a DIY film photographer, which means except for color film, I develop all my own film at home. This is a black and white roll, and this is perfect because that is exactly the chemicals that I have at home to develop. So today, let's learn a little bit on how to develop your own 35mm black and white film. So the first thing you're going to need to do is use one of these, or a pair of pliers works, but you have to do that in the dark. So you need to protect the film as much as you can once it's actually outside of the canister. So what you do here, this is to just get the leader out. You put this in that slot there, and then you push this first lever up, and then you twist this until you hear a click. There's that click. It's a small click. You push up this, and then you pull the two apart. Now, what was supposed to happen there, takes a few tries, was that this little leader is to come out of the film, and then you can go in your dark room and spool the rest of this on to a different thing, which I will show you right now. So this is what's known as a Patterson tank. You can see this tank right here. It has a top, which is light safe. This tube goes down into a little other tube. So that allows you to pour chemicals in without the light getting in, because you need to protect your film from light. If you do not protect your film from light, it will get ruined and it won't work. So that is a Patterson tank, and you put the film onto these little reels, and then you stack it on that thing in the dark, and this tank is where you pour your chemicals to actually develop the film. And what you're going to do here, I'm only going to do a little bit of it because I don't want to ruin the rest of the roll, but here you go. So you take your thing, you usually cut off the leader, but I actually like putting the leader in there. And you put it into this right here, and then you take it up takes a second. And then you take it up into the leader like so. I'm dropping it every time. Embarrassing. Look at me, embarrassing. Antifa doesn't know how to develop film. There you go. So you get it onto the roll like that, and you just knock it back and forth like that. So for all of that, when you're putting your film onto the spool, you need to do that in the dark. If you do not do it in the dark, even in a dim room, it will ruin the film, or it will give you major artifacts. So you need to do that in the dark. Use a closet if you have one. I'm in my bathroom. There's a closet in my bathroom. So I close my bathroom door, I close the closet door, all the lights off. It's perfectly light safe. So if you have a setup like that, you're perfectly good to go, and you have your own dark room. So I've just put all the film onto their reels, and they are now loaded into the tank. The tank is now screwed on top, and it is completely light safe. So I can take this off, and I can show you this here. So this is a little turner. You turn this, and it turns the film inside. That helps the chemicals get all over the film and develop it better. You can still pour your chemicals down through that hole, or you can take it out to make it go a little bit faster. Now, let's actually go over the chemicals that you will need to develop your own film at home. Now, there are homemade solutions for this one. This is called the developer. I can go over that in a different video, but this one is just classic film developing. This is a classic Kodak developer called D76. Now, this is nasty stuff. Don't get it on your skin. Wear gloves when you're using it, and try not to get it down the drain. If a little bit gets down the drain, that's fine, but it is a very toxic chemical. You'll want to keep this very safe. I keep it in my closet, high on a shelf, so my cats can never get to it. Now this is the second thing you're going to need, or it's optional really, you can use water instead, but this is just a stop bath, which essentially stops the developing reaction, and it is, as you can see, 50% acetic acid or 50% vinegar. So 50% distilled white vinegar with water, and that stops the chemical reaction. Lastly, we have what's called photographer's hypo, or fixer. Now what this does is it fixes the photograph onto the actual cellulose slides, the actual cellulose film, right? So this stops the reaction completely and also makes it not light sensitive anymore. So you can take it out and you can look at the pictures. And this is just a solution of ammonium chloride and sodium thiosulfate. You can buy those chemicals literally on Amazon. That's where I got them. And then this is another optional thing. This is a dishwasher rinse aid. This is the last step that you put a little bit in, and it helps get the water residue off of the film. Water droplets can leave artifacts on the film, so you'll want to get as much off of that as you can. So I use dishwater rinse aid. It is super cheap, and you only need a little splash of it. Now, let's get to developing. So, there are some more advanced techniques. You can change the temperature of things to speed up the reaction or to slow down the reaction, but generally when you're developing film, you'll just want to do it at roughly room temperature. So make sure all your chemicals have come to room temperature before you use them. Some of them will produce heat when you mix them, so you'll just need to wait for that to cool down a little bit, or it'll develop your film really, really fast and overexpose the images. So the general schema of how one develops film is 8 minutes for developer. Then you pour the developer back into the bottle, rinse it off with a little bit of water, then add your stop bath for 3 minutes. And then you put the stop back in the bottle, you wash it off with a little bit of water, room temperature water, and then you put in your fixer for 2 minutes. And then after your fixer's done, you pour it back in the bottle, you rinse it off with a little bit of water, and then you can put in your dishwasher rinse aid and rinse it, let the water run for maybe 5 minutes, and that will completely rinse your film of all the other chemicals, so you can pull it out and see the lovely images that you have created. So, that is the general schema. Let me go do that, and then I'll come back when we have images to look at. I lied. There are more steps. When you are developing, you need to do a timer for 8 minutes, of course. And every 2 minutes, you're going to want to agitate. So at the beginning, this is the beginning, the developer's in there right now. I take it, I hold the top really tight so it doesn't spill, and I do this. I invert it a couple of times, and I do a little spinning motion. It's fancy, look at that. And that will agitate your stuff. You do that every 2 minutes until the 8 minutes is up. And you will want to do the same with your stop bath and your fixer. Just adjust the time, because the fixer only goes for 2 minutes, the stop bath only goes for 3. I usually do 1 agitation at the beginning with the stop bath, and then 1 at 2 minutes, and then that's it. And then with the fixer, I do 1 at the start and then 1 at the end. So now I've just rinsed off everything after the last step, and the film is developed. It comes on this little roll here. Pop this guy off, just a little keeper, take that out, and then we'll just show you one roll here. So this is how you take it apart. So this is how it looks when you get it on there, and it all just like wraps around there so it can all get evenly coated in the chemicals, and you just go break that, and there you have it. And you can already see our images here. There's a few images. That looks to me like the outside of the DHS building, the ICE building in Macadam Avenue in Portland, Oregon. So look at that, and then I'll show you here in just a second how to squeegee this. So welcome to my developing closet, and this is where I hang up my film to dry. So there's all my chemicals and such, and there are the little clips that I use on the shelf just to hold it in place, and this is where you let the film drip dry. And to help it along a little bit and to help remove any water spots that might be on there, we have a little film squeegee. A purpose-made little device, and you just literally go boop, and you squeegee. It makes a horrible noise, and then you squeegee it down there, and that removes all the water. And now, let's see, you can see actually a couple images here, and they're all negatives, so you have to digitally reverse them color-wise in the computer. But you can see here, there's some DHS police. This is all work from my journalism down at the front at the anti-ice encampment in Portland, Oregon. And you can see some of the images there on film. And that is really it. You now have images on film. And scanning is a whole other story. But maybe I'll make another video about scanning someday. It's a little bit more computer intensive, but it is still part of the process. So I will take those, I'll put them on the scanner, and then they're good to go. So thank you for watching, and as always, Chinga la migra.